What is up, you guys? Marty McFly coming at you, bringing you guys the merch. So today we're going to do a couple things from the car. We've had it's been a while. It's been a long stretch over at the hospital right now. If you're familiar with things in the hospital setting right now, it's pretty much like the zombie apocalypse. Everybody's sick. Everyone's coming in with some strange disease. A little bit of COVID, a little bit of flu, a little bit of crazy stuff going on right now. But it's like zombie apocalypse. I mean, there's just so many people. It feels like the entire northern hemisphere is moving to the south part of the United States now, unfortunately. So it's causing a lot of backup. Everyone's sick. So I figured I would take and it's the first day I've had in a while. So I figured I'd take a little break. Let's talk about some merch, because at the end of the day, it's the only thing that makes our days better. It's when we talk about the merch. Can we talk about the merch? I'm dying to talk about the merch. Let's talk about the merch. Darkest Hour. Their newest record, Perpetual Terminal. Absolutely a great return to form. I can't say enough good things about this record. Godless Prophets and the Migrant Flora, it had some really good moments on it that I enjoyed. I think the album itself was kind of a dud to me, considering how talented this band is. This is the first time we've gotten a new record since 2017, so it's been about 7 years since we've had a new record from this band. I believe I'll be getting the vinyl. It's just that good. Like I said, Migrant Flora, not their best work. It was good. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's still a fun record to play. I still play it every once in a while. It just didn't grab hold of me the way that some of their other stuff is. I mean, if you listen to songs like Convalescence and Demons, if you go back to their first couple of records, I mean, their entire discography is actually great. Even their one record with Sumerian, the self-titled, I still enjoyed it. It's super melodic. They really took that post-hardcore, metalcore style to their tunes, but I really enjoyed it. It's a long CD. You get everything you could ever want on a Darkest Hour record, and this is no different. I think this is a great return to form. This reminds me so much of a little bit of the metalcore stuff. There's a lot of those arpeggiated riffs, a lot of the lead guitar work that you've heard in Killswitch Engage. You can hear a lot of the remnants of like Slaughter of the Slow. By At the Gates, you can hear where some of their ideas come from. And if you talk to anyone about where does metalcore come from, you look at bands like Dillinger Escape Plan, Converge, you look at what Norma Jean was doing. But I think we wouldn't have today's modern metalcore if we didn't have Slaughter the Slow by Out the Gates. And bands like Trivium, Killswitch, Darkest Hour, they're no different. This is a terrific return to form. Can't say enough good things about this record. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop going. I think the final track really surprised the heck out of me. And the final track is called Something to Die For. Really, really surprised the heck out of me because it's a slow start. You get this feeling that it's just going to be a complete instrumental song, which I'm okay with too. It reminded me a little bit what Trivium did at the end of the Crusade. Similar to that, and then all of a sudden the vocals come out. These guys really pushed themselves on this record. Like I said, it's the first time we've had a record from them in 7 years. You can tell from Migrant Flora that they were just pissed off. They were raging. They were mad at the world, and they were probably mad at their record label with Sumerian. They're probably mad about being pigeonholed. I don't know. Like I said, Migrant Flora is a fun record. I still enjoy it today. It's not my favorite by them. My introduction to these guys was back in the day, which was Wednesday, by the way, to quote Dan Cook. Back in the day on Bright House Music, before it was Spectrum, we had Bright House Music, and they had the music choice channels. They still have those. It was like channel 420 was the heavy metal station. Back in the day, the first time I was ever introduced with Darkest Hour was the song Convalescence. And that opened a door for me as far as Darkest Hour is concerned. So I think I have all their records on CD up to this point. Every single one of their albums, they came out sounding very mature. They reminded me a lot of what early melodic death metal bands were playing. To be honest with you, I thought Darkest Hour was like a Swedish or a German melodic death metal band because of how mature their sound was right out the gate. And, this album is no different. If you're a big Darkest Hour fan, you get everything you could ever want from this band on this record. There's a little bit of everything for everybody, from new to middle to old. They really push themselves with the guitar work. They really push themselves with the vocals. Their lead singer, man, he does everything on this album. So if you haven't heard this before, give it a listen. If you're ready to jump back into Darkest Hour, this will not disappoint you. This will leave you very, very happy. This, of course, is the inside. Well, minus this, because this is something I'm going to talk to you about in a little bit, but I actually have the CD in the car right now. Anyway, can't recommend this record enough. So, I did want to talk about something while we're here, and that CD is a little bit of a preview. So, I'm going to put it back in its handy-dandy case, probably where it belongs. This is, of course, none other than the newest record from Mental Cruelty. This is, I can't pronounce anything to save my life, but zweilicht is, I don't know if that means twilight in German. I would actually need to go look it up. There is, if you go to the title track, which is zweilicht, or zweilicht, if I could try, zweilicht is the name of the record, but it's also the name of their title track, zweilicht. And there are some German lyrics on this record like they've done in the past. This is a fantastic deathcore album. They're really hitting hard on the melodic deathcore side of things. So much to the point where you can hear a little bit of the deathcore community. They're all kind of borrowing ideas off of each other. Like, Mental Cruelty's been around for a long time, and a lot of other bands have borrowed from this band. Well, now they're starting to put in their own ideas as well as bringing ideas from other bands. Now, this cover might look familiar to you. This is done by a really big artist. I just started following him on Instagram, and my apologies, but yeah, it was a little hard to pronounce this, but it's Marius Lewandowski. He's on Instagram. You can actually buy a lot of his artwork. He really has a lot of his artwork is like nature-sided. They have a lot of Grim Reaper-esque photos in there, and I would love to actually buy one of his artworks and bring them home and frame it, because the stuff he does is incredible. This might look familiar to you because this cover album is done by the same artist who did Lorna Shore's EP that came out a couple years ago. So, you know, their big famous song with the strangling Daffy Duck vocals, that's the same album that was, the artwork was done by this guy, Marius Lewandowski. Really big fan of what these guys have been doing for the last couple of years. Like I said, they've been around for a while. They contribute to the melodic deathcore scene. They actually just got a new lead singer because their last lead singer left, and there was some stuff. Drama. We're not here to talk about the drama. We're here to talk about the good stuff. The other reason this might sound familiar to you is the guy that actually produced and mixed and mastered this record. So this is done by Josh Schroeder. Josh Schroeder is also the same guy who is responsible for mixing and mastering some of Lorna Shore stuff. So a lot of the deathcore community, a lot of these guys are borrowing from each other, and I think that's great because there's a lot of great moments on this record. Now, there's a little bit of melodic singing on it, and there's also some group chanting, some folky group chant singing, some gang vocals. What I did like about what they did with this is it reminds me a lot of what Enslaved was doing with those group gang folky melodic vocals, like the choruses, and Enslaved has a couple tracks like that, and one of Enslaved's most famous tracks, it reminds me of what those guys were doing with the folky group gang choir choruses. So overall, it's a fantastic album. Can't recommend this enough. I love the artwork. I think I'm gonna get the vinyl just so I can have the artwork on a big frame. Like I said, I love what's coming out of the deathcore community right now. I've been jamming this a lot. I've been jamming the new Darkest Hour. The other one I've been playing a lot is Quad Brutal by Austrian Death Machine. If you guys don't know that, that's by Tim Lambesis of As I Lay Dying. He's got his fourth Austrian Death Machine record. His wife, Dani Lambesis, does clean vocals on it. She can also scream, she can sing. This Quad Brutal album reminds me of the stuff that we want from all of our As I Lay Dying records. Now granted, Tim Lambesis, he writes the lyrics, he writes a lot of the songs, he plays guitar, he plays a lot of instruments. I think what I like about Quad Brutal is it's giving us the things that we want from As I Lay Dying, and all the ideas and all the sounds, all those feelings. They almost even, obviously it's a little cheesy because the albums are about Arnold Schwarzenegger, so 1, 2, 3, 4, all 4 albums, Austrian Death Machine, it's all about Arnold Schwarzenegger. So a lot of their songs are about like weightlifting, The Terminator, Predator, True Lies, all of his things that are essentially Arnold. That's what this record is doing, and I think it's a blast. But what I do like is you can hear some of the older As I Lay Dying stuff on this album. If you go to Double and Triple Brutal, you actually hear a lot of moments from the Awakened album from As I Lay Dying, which is their last one before their temporary breakup, and everybody went to do Woven War, and then Tim unfortunately had to go away for a little while. But I do really like what this album is doing. I don't have it with me, sorry, it's upstairs. But anyway, short little video from me today. I actually have a couple days off for the first time in a while, and I really wanted to get back into making videos with you guys again, because I do learn a lot from other people. The vinyl YouTube community is a really cool community to hang out with and get to know, and there's always ideas sharing around. We got a bunch of shows coming up, especially across the United States. That we had a big tour right now, just announced with As I Lay Dying, Entheos, and Chelsea Grin. I don't really care for what Chelsea Grin's really doing right now. I mean, it's fun, but it's like it's chug chug bounce and bass blast and then repeat. I really haven't jammed them too much. The last two records, it just wasn't my cup of tea. There's a lot of people that like them though. Entheos has got some great stuff. They were on tour with Whitechapel last year. Man, those guys are heavy. We also got Victims, who's on tour with Upon a Burning Body right now. We also got a big tour just announced with POD and Norma Jean and Bad Wolves, which totally down to go see that. I will pay any money just to go see Norma Jean play a show, but mixed with POD, which by the way, if you haven't played POD's new stuff, it's incredible. If you're a metalhead, POD's new songs sound awesome. I mean, we got Randy Blythe from Lamb of God singing on it on a POD record. So you're talking about POD with Sonny, Christian, new metal, rockcore, whatever you want to call it, and then we got Randy Blythe from Lamb of God singing on it. It's awesome. Can't recommend it enough. And we got some other tours coming up. The big one coming here in May is going to be Cannibal Corpse, Amon Amarth, Frozen Soul, and Obituary, I think, right? Obituary, right? Right? Does that sound right? Hey, does that sound right to you? Okay. Anyway, I want to say it was Obituary. I could be totally wrong, but I think it's Amon Amarth, Cannibal Corpse. Those are honestly enough to blow me away. Frozen Soul. If you don't know what Frozen Soul is, it's literally frozen tundra death metal. Go check them out. They're playing constantly. They're one of the hardest working bands in the scene. They're really trying to define their place. They remind me a lot of what Creeping Death is doing in the death metal scene. Please go check out those two guys. Creeping Death and Frozen Soul are amazing bands to listen to. They're some of the hardest working bands in the group right now. People want to say bands like Shit Token or Napcoin or Crappy Omens and entry core bands. You know what? No, they're not the hardest working bands in the scene. They're just noticed more because they're big on TikTok. That's all it is. I got nothing against Bad Omens. It was just, when I saw them live, it was just like a bunch of angry girls getting pissed off because we were trying to mosh for the one breakdown that they have in their songs. And it was just irritating. They're cool. I mean, I don't hate against Bad Omens, but I think going to the show is kind of annoying because then you have to fight with girls all the time and you're trying to get a pit going. There's girls that are like, why are you guys fighting? You have to deal with that shit the whole time. Anyway, rant over. Like I said, I got no. You know what? If you like the entry core bands, that's cool, man. I got nothing wrong with it. It is what it is. I really wish the metal online zines would really stop promoting the crap out of non-metal bands on metal websites. Metalheads are tired of it. There's nothing wrong with with Napcoin or Nap Token and Sleep Token, whatever, and Bad Omens and Angry Ghost Box. You know exactly what band I'm talking about. I mean, you know what? Spirit Box is cool. Unfortunately, Courtney LaPlante's a very talented artist. I think I just got really tired of it really fast. You know what? It was cool for 8 seconds, and then she started talking. She started dissing on the heavy metal community, and I'm like, you know what, man? I'm a born and bred metal guy. You can't talk bad about the community and expect me to buy your stuff, man. I think the rest of the guys in the band are pretty cool, but she opened her mouth and started talking bad about the heavy metal community and how hard it is to work. I'm like, yeah, it is hard. It's hard for every freaking band out there. If you played in a band or your friends are in bands, you know exactly how it is. Anyway, so they're all on tour right now. We're dealing with that, but the big tour coming up. You got Frozen Soul, you got Amon Amarth, you got Cannibal Corpse. They're on this huge tour right now. Like I said, some of the hardest working guys in the scene. Cannibal Corpse included, man. I don't know too many bands that work much harder than them. So I'm really happy for that show to come back out. Anyway, thanks for listening to my rant. Like I said, new Darkest Hour, new Austrian Death Machine, new Mental Cruelty. So much merch coming out. Really excited about what the scene's doing right now. Really excited and really happy for the heavy metal community. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. There's a lot of support for each other in the bands, and you know what? It's a good time to be a metalhead. So I hope you guys are doing well out there. Take care of each other, and peace.